So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody on behalf of the family for showing up. I think the amount of people here from different areas of the country. I'm from Denver personally. I know we got some people from other Western states. And then hopefully we got more people from other parts. Illinois, family from Illinois. But I think it's just a testament as to Rich and the many lives that he actually touched. I wanted to share something with everybody. This is something that I wrote to my company, which Rich and I worked for the same company. And I've known Rich for about 14 years. He actually hired me into the same industry that he had worked in. And they had asked me to put something together that they wanted to share with everybody. So I wrote this and I wanted to share it with everybody. To my buddy Rich, today I lost a friend, a man who believed in me, a man who saw me for me, and one I looked up to in so many ways. Because of his belief, I am where I am. Because he coached me, then became a great friend. Rich Wickline was one of the funniest guys I've ever met. He was always quoting a movie line, singing a song, or showing off his Burt Reynolds bandit laugh. Has everybody heard that? Okay. I'm not the only one then. Rich never seemed mad, but getting to know him over the years showed the many faces of Rich, and he would stew, but never show anger by acting out. It was an amazing skill, and one I'd wished I could myself master like he obviously did. He was one for drinking beers, enjoying Raiders football on Sundays, fishing on Fridays, and using his new trailer on weekends as much as possible. Our weekly phone calls were once to vent about the frustrations of our clients and potential clients, but ones of comfort, reminding us that no matter how much we thought we were alone on an island growing a business, we were never alone, but on the same island. We always ended on a happy note, letting one another know we were always there to help. He was always positive and one I called when I might be down about something because he could always bring me up. His jokes are some I still tell today because they are always definite laugh out loud when delivered with Rich's tact and Rich's dry delivery methods. I'm laughing now as I write this, just thinking about some of them. And by the way, many of these jokes came from his son, Ray. So I expect Ray to share some of these dad jokes. Rich had an ability to get so much traction out of the same awesome songs, same trivia, same great movies, same funny jokes, and same amazing stories. Nothing ever got old. I never got tired of them. There were so many. Some stories I remembered, some I didn't, but it didn't matter. They were always entertaining and never got better with each passing, and always got better with each passing year. We would rival one another on worthless knowledge, but he would always win. He was a tad older than I, and a little more experienced and wiser because of it. I was always playing catch up, but it was always fun doing it because it was a learning experience being around him. Always a joke or a new nugget to take home. So much can be said about Rich. There are so many memories from the last 14 years, but now I can only say Rich meant more to me today because tomorrow he won't be there. for all the things that I've just mentioned, and that hurts my heart. Rest in peace, my friend Rich. I love you, and I will miss you. Save a spot at the bar for me in heaven, buddy. I promise to join you one day, except this time, you will know it all, and it will be in paradise. Sorry. So, what we wanted to do is we wanted to open the floor to everybody that had a story about Rich. Rich touched each of us individually, and each of us has our own unique story to tell. So if somebody would be willing to start out, please raise your hand. I'll bring the mic to you, and we'll just go and we'll pass the mic, and we'll share our experiences with Rich, because I guarantee you, I heard some funny stories all over the place. So here we go. Right on.
We love Rich. He's family. He's like a brother. The Spences are my family since about the mid-'60s. And he's definitely going to be missed. The first time I met him, we were at Terry's place, and we were having a barbecue, because when I met him, he was outside, and he loved doing his, deep fried turkey. So Chris was out there, he was out there, I walked out. It's the first time I met him. We said hi, and I told him, I said, well, I've known Sue a long time, and you better take care of her, or I'm going to have to kick your butt. Of course, I'm looking up in the air at him. He's looking down on me with kind of a puzzle, like, what did you just say to me? So once we got that settled, no, we were fine, and he's been great. I can remember going out in the lake when we're out there with the kids and running the boats and doing crazy stuff. And the dinners, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, and you probably heard this, and you'll hear it from other people, how, once you got done eating dinner, then it was get the music. And he'd run through it and find different things and start singing, and then I would make some noise and other people. And we had fun with it. It didn't have to sound good. And, it was neat. And then, because I can remember, I'd always sit down near the end of the table next to him, and so we'd be going through the music, and I would think of something, and he'd go, okay, and he'd look that one up, we'd play that. So that was cool. We had a lot of fun. There's something I'd like to read, and the funny thing is, I took a picture of it, and I have no idea where I got it from, but it's very emotional, and you'll understand it. Let me get my glass on. This is called When Tomorrow Starts Without Me. It says, when tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. The angel said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But when I walked through heaven's gate, I felt so much at home, for God looked down and smiled on me and told me, welcome home. So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart, for every time you think of me. I'm right there in your heart. Thank you.
Funny thing about music and Rich is back in the day when he was my manager, he used to have to ride with his sales reps. And I lived in Fresno. He was living, I believe, Tracy, Manteca area. And he quit riding with me. And I'm like, Rich, why'd you quit riding with me? I hate your damn music. We got another story? Anybody?
Hi, everyone. I'm Thomas Silva. We have the brewery downtown. And I've got a bunch of funny stuff to talk about, but I'll probably limit it because... So, I have Rich in my phone as Rich Winkle. I never put his real last name in there just because I thought it was funny, and he always had a twinkle, and he always looked at you right in the eye, and then it was just... But we met shortly after the brewery just opened. He came in and, introduced himself, him and Sue, and we just connected immediately. And so... So we started doing, we both love the Raiders, and then there's a big group of Raider lovers, Rod Dittler, TJ Rogers, Jay Rogers. We'd all meet up there on Sundays, appetizers, watch the Raiders, talk shit on Carr, and just get through the day. But it was our special Sunday, and it was kind of our ritual. Rod would pop in real fast because he always has his 5 o'clock barbecue. He's cooking the meat for his in-laws, and it's a big deal. But so we made it happen almost every Sunday. I liked Rich a lot because he would tell me the truth about the beer that I was brewing. He was not afraid to tell me that tastes like shit. And I loved that about him. And he loved IPAs, and so do I. And so we got to make the best, and we did. And it was, we enjoyed a lot of beer together. When he'd go up to Russian River, he would always grab me a case of Pliny. And our deal was, when he brought the Pliny to me, he'd say, we'll just have one. Well, then every single time we drank the entire case together. And it always happened. Rich contributed to the first bad Yelp review at the brewery. It was for Rod Dittler's birthday, and long story short, we went to the Sportsman, brought some whiskey up to the brewery, decided that we were going to be the band that night, turned up the music, and us three were up there like a bunch of 14-year-old girls singing and didn't even care who was around us. And so that was great, but... we had a family vacation up in Tahoe, and it just aligned that Sue and Rich were going to be up there at the same time, and so they came and met us at the campsite. And I remember telling my mom, she's like, yeah, so how do you know Rich? And, I told her, whatever. What's he do for a living? The normal questions. I said, well, he's a drug dealer. And I kind of kept it rolling, and I didn't say much. I was just like, he's a good guy. But yeah, he deals dope. So, but anyway, so that was funny. But anyway, Rich always, we talked about very serious stuff, and we laughed a lot, played poker together, drank a lot of beer, and I'm going to, my wife and I, we bought Rich and Sue's old Sea Ray, the yacht. So we got that about a year ago, and so we'll have that to hold on to on memories. And very nice man, truly missed, and I do know that I'll see him again. Actually, fuck it. I had our last text message. I just thought it was symbolic, and I'll just end on this one. Let me look at Bridge. Rich Winkle. So September 4th, where you at? That was from Rich. I said, shit, I'm at my folks' house. And he called me a dork. And I said, I forgot. He said, no worries, catch up later. And I said, yes, we will. That was our last text. And we were supposed to meet up for the ball game. Anyway, just love and support to you, Sue, and the family. And guys, this is a huge loss, and I have no words, so, all right.
My last text message from Rich. He goes, I'm in the hospital with this COVID bullshit. So I called him up right away. And, it's like, dude, you'll be fine. You'll get through this. We'll get to our annual fish fry. Of course, we know what happened, but my conversation with him in the hospital was he was more annoyed with just being in the damn hospital. He was like, yeah, this is stupid. And I said, is there anything I can do for you? And he says, yeah, take this shit away from me. Anybody else?
My name is Nick Dutt. I am from Livermore. And I've known Rich since January of 2009. And like Greg, he took a chance on me. I moved from Sacramento after a ugly divorce. And Rich knew exactly what I was going through at that time. And he sympathized. And he took a shot on me. And until this day, I'm still doing what I do in pharmaceuticals because of Rich. And I made a career out of it because of Rich. And, man, I owe him a lot. He was more than just a manager. He was a friend. He would never respond back to you on a Friday after 2 o'clock. That was one of his golden rules. But unlike Greg, he did ride with me. He liked my music. And he did like my music. And the only thing, though, is... didn't want to ride with him after eating Mexican food and after having some IPAs, especially when he did overnights. But back then we had Ford Fusions as a company car, and me being 5'6" and him being 6'8", it was difficult for him to get in and out of my car. And one of the things that he and we had this relationship, especially going to offices because we looked just so awkward. So I gave him the name. Everyone called him Sasquatch at work. I called him Bubba, and that's how I knew Rich. I never called Rich. I called him Bubba, and the reason why is just because he's just like this big oaf, and he was just goofy, and you would never know that unless you really got to know him. There's so many memories that I have of Rich from when I got remarried in 2013, and Sue and Rich and our sales team, they came and partied with us at our reception, and we just got shit-faced. And Sue was doing the getting low on the dance floor, and she fell on her ass. And Rich was just so embarrassed, and the next day it was just like that was the talk of breakfast was Sue and Rich, getting it down on the dance floor. There's just so many memories. I mean, from my wife and I going to Vegas and partying with them during the Super Bowl. I mean, had some amazing times to the fish fries. I don't know. It's so hard to talk about this right now because I can't believe this is so surreal. Because I was supposed to meet with Rich. We actually met pre-pandemic. That's the last time I saw him. We traveled to Colby, who's sitting right there, who owns a couple breweries in Eugene. And Rich and I met there to work pre-pandemic. And we went on a drinking tirade that night and didn't remember how we even got back to the hotel. And then COVID hit. And I had a daughter that was born last year, June. And I sent Rich a text, and he planned to, after COVID, we were going to get together in Livermore, where I live, and I was going to take him to Altamont Brewery. Never going to have that chance because he loved that place. And he was going to meet my daughter for the first time. So I'm going to miss the guy. Baba, man, thank you for the memories. You always live in our hearts. And, man, just from Ramita and I and to Sue, man, you guys are always family, and we love you so much. Thank you.
Hopefully I can hold this together. My name is Sonny. I've never met Rich in physical form. I've definitely met him through Sue's Facebook, and Sue and I go back a long, long ways. I just want to say that I am so grateful to be able to experience a couple that was so in love and sharing that love with all of us and experiencing it through the Facebook pages, through the joy, through the peace, through the harmony, through the special moments. Love is there, and I hope that everyone can open their heart in knowing the two of them to really know how to express that and share it. And thank you all, and I'm glad I'm here.
I'm Colby. Nick was just up here talking. The four of us all worked together for 6 or 7 years. I was going to say, I'm the guy who got Rich started drinking IPAs. So if you're drinking an IPA and you don't like it, it's my fault. But if you do like it, it's also my fault. But he was very skeptical. He drank the lagers, but he was willing to try it. That's how Rich was. And then there you go. And I'm a Raiders fan, so that worked out well, too. I had a couple of stories. I'll try and keep it brief here. But our headquarters for our company were in Louisiana, just out of New Orleans. So we'd have our meetings on Canal, actually right next to Bourbon Street. So we'd go down there quite a bit. And Rich would go on diets, if you guys know him well, like, gotta lose some weight. So he'd cut the carbs and he'd drink the whiskey or whatever. And so he hadn't been eating much, and we're at this meeting. He hadn't been eating much that day and hadn't been drinking much lately. So we were able to go out in an early afternoon, and it was daylight, and he was drunk. And he was huge. Like, none of us could ever keep up with him. But that day he got pretty drunk, so I walked him back to the hotel and, inserted the key card and pushed him in, kind of a thing. And he came back to the meeting the next morning, and his hair was not out of place. It was perfectly combed. Unbelievable. But every time we had a few too many, we'd all come in looking pretty haggard. Rich looked like nothing ever happened, and perfect. Always good times. But the big thing for me is Rich was a boss, but he was a good friend. But I learned a lot about managing from Rich. I had other managers that I learned good things and bad things, but Rich, when I moved on from that job and ended up having people underneath me that I managed, I took that leap because I knew that I had learned the right things from him to feel like that I could pull it off. And so whatever success I've had in that, I really owe to Rich. And he also provided the inspiration for me to even take that leap because I felt comfortable that I felt like I could pull it off based on the things that he taught me. So he'll always be a part of that. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Hi, I'm Rich's father. My name is Richard Wickline. And we knew him as Lanny. His middle name was Landon. We called him Lanny all of his younger years until he changed schools. And then he didn't want to be called Lanny any longer. So he started being known as Rich or Richard. So we had to call him by his new name too. We went on a trip with another family to Arkansas. And we were in a station wagon, and I had 2 children, and they had 4 children. So the station wagon was pretty full. We stopped at a way station, and he yelled from the car, "Dad, bring me some gum." Well, to this day, whenever I would call, or he would call me, we'd start the conversation out with, "Dad." And it just came to be a family joke. But you had to know him as a child because he was so bullheaded when he was young. You had to almost hit him over the head with a hammer to get him to listen. Good guy, though. Thank you.
I'm going to try and remember this best I can. This was shortly after Rich had met Sue. And Sue, you might be able to help out with this. Where are you, Sue? Okay. Do you remember we were in New Orleans and we were on Bourbon Street and we were at that bar and that homeless guy tried to start a fight with Rich? Who was there? Okay. We all know how big Rich is, or Rich was, right? I mean, we all know the guy was a freaking giant. So we're having a good time. We're drinking, just enjoying ourselves. And some homeless guy comes up, because there's a whole bunch of homeless guys on Bourbon Street just trying to do their hustle, trying to get a few bucks. And this one guy comes up and he continues to bug us after we essentially tell him no. Well, Rich finally got involved. He wasn't being aggressive in any way. But then the homeless guy decided he wanted to be aggressive. And he told Rich he was going to kick his butt. Rich stepped out of the bar, and he just stood there. And all I saw was this guy that was looking down like this up at him, telling about how much he was going to kick his butt. And Rich just sat there and just stared at him, didn't say a freaking word. And the guy's like, "I'll be back. I'll be back." And that was the last we ever saw of him. You remember that? Did I remember that correctly? Yeah. You're lucky it's the daytime. Oh my gosh, it was there's so many of those stories with Rich and just his size. I have to say that, you know, we have another guy at work. His name's Russ, and Russ has worked with Rich for the last 13, 14 years. And Russ really likes to just turn screws on Rich. We all kind of did. Like, you know, you see the picture of me hugging him on the screen when it'll come up. And the only reason why I did that is I knew Rich hated it. I was always trying to turn screws on Rich just to get a reaction out of him. But Russ has this thing where some of us refer to him as big Sasquatch. Well, yeah, I can't do the Chewbacca, but every time Russ would call up Rich, he would do the whole Chewbacca. That There you go. So we always got a kick out of that. Every time we go to a sales meeting with Russ, that's what we would do with, or that's what Russ would do with Rich. So I want to talk about one more thing about Rich's divorce and about when he met Sue. I was working with Rich the day that he found out he was going to get a divorce. And I'd went to a football game with him, a Raiders game, preseason. I'm sorry I'm not a Raiders fan, so I can't remember if they won or lost. I am a Cowboys fan. I would remember it if, hey, be quiet. And when he showed up to our meeting spot in Fresno, you know, he's just came out and said, "Look, man, I'm getting a divorce," and he was pretty broken up over it. So I had just come out of a relationship myself, which I felt was kind of trying on me, but I was on the other side of it, so I felt like I could lend an experience to him, even though I wasn't married. Going through something traumatic is going through something traumatic, and I'd gone through something that I felt was traumatic to my development, especially. So I sat him down. I said, "Here, sit here. We're gonna get some coffee. We're gonna get some food. We're gonna talk about this." And in a nutshell, what I told him was, "Rich, I know this hurts now. I know it feels like you have no control, but you're gonna get to the other side of this. And when you do, you're going to meet somebody and you're going to realize that that person is the right person for you. And when that day happens, I'm going to tell you, I told you so." And probably from what I remember, he just wasn't really listening to it. But then he met Sue. It was a few months later. He plowed through it. He got on the other side, and I'm sorry that we do not have this picture up on this stream, but I do have the picture of when I told him, and it's basically him flipping me off. But I said, "Rich," I'd met Sue. It was in Vegas. Was it Vegas or Tahoe? Was it Tahoe? Okay. It's hard I get them mixed up. There's bars and drinking and gambling. And I remember sitting down at the bar, and the first thing that was going to come out of my mouth was, "I told you so." And he's like, "Don't effing say it." Anybody else?
So I wasn't going to say anything because you kind of are speechless on these things, but him talking about Sue and meeting each other is just amazing. Brady and I have been together for 6 years. And then shortly we had a baby right after we met. But anyway, whoops, sorry, Mom. You know, when your parents get divorced, you kind of have this fear that you're not going to like the person who they choose or who they love. I haven't experienced that because my parents haven't remarried or met other people. But meeting Brady and watching him kind of go through all that and getting to know him, meeting Rich, who is a big ass guy, you could just see it, how much he loves Sue. And you can just feel how much respect he had for Brady. And that's hard. I mean, I don't care who you are, your stepkids. How are you supposed to be with your stepkids, right? But he was the perfect definition of a stepdad. He gave our family space. He would help get us intoxicated. He was kind of like, "Oh shit, he just met this girl and they're pregnant." And he wasn't afraid to say that. He was very, very black and white. But he loved us. And he loves his kids so much. He always had stories. And he could never get Maya to sit still, and that drove him nuts. He just couldn't get her to sit still. And he didn't have to love us. He didn't have to, give us the attention he needed or the advice or anything like that. But when you find someone like that, it's amazing. And when he passed, one of Brady's first words were, my mom finally had someone who loved her so much. And Ray and Jess, we are so thankful for you guys sharing your dad with us, and not only loving Brady and I, but Maya and Adrian and everyone. There's just so much we can say over and over, but thank God that someone sent Sue so great and somebody who can handle her, because she loves to party. And when we got engaged, we're like, we don't want to spend all this money on feeding people we don't even like. And he's like, no way, let's have a party. I'll get all the kegs. And I was just like, oh, God. But every trip that we've ever taken with Sue and Rich, our last trip was camping. And I swear he had those damn Donald Trump straws with him still. So anyone who knows Rich, you're just like, oh my God. Or you're like, I love this guy. But there's so much love for him. And, it's been a crazy year, but a little 5-year-old told me, Rich isn't hurting, he's not suffering, he's fine, he's with Jesus, and Jesus is in our heart. And, usually we're supposed to be telling our kids, getting them through things, but the little ones are getting us through this. And there's so much love for everyone who's here. I mean, sometimes you're related and you're like, I don't even want to be related to that person. But I can speak for all of us. We're all super grateful for everyone who's here and who's loved Rich, supports Jessica and Ray and Sue. And it's amazing when you don't have to love someone, but they love you. We're very, very grateful for that.
So, how many people have been to Rich's Fish Fry here? Okay, quite a few. I might have met somebody last year. I wanted to share one more quick story about a son and his daughter, and what I thought was just kind of like a magical moment of, the love between two people. Everybody here knows that Rich loved his music, and Rich would sing his music, and the more intoxicated he became, the more he would sing, and the more animated he would become. So last year, my girlfriend Destiny and I were invited to come to Rich's Fish Fry. And so we came out. One of the first things I told Rich was like, Rich, I made it. He's looking at me all puzzled. He's like, what do you mean you made it? I was like, dude, you invited me to your fish fry. That means we're real friends. So for 2 days straight, all we did was sit out in his garage, talk, and drink. And then, of course, we had the fish fry, and, I'm not a fish guy, but of course I ate that damn fish because it was cooked with love. Jessica, I got to meet his daughter Jessica, and towards the end of the night, when everybody's pretty much intoxicated, I can't remember the songs because I was drinking too, but I do remember a moment where son and daughter were just into it, singing like they were the ones on stage. And I got a 14-year-old, and all I could think about was, and I listen to heavy metal, I can't sing to half of it anyway, so I'll never be able to have that kind of a moment. But maybe Boston, maybe something like that I can get down with. But to watch those two go at it, it was one of those magical moments. And I realized then, because I had never met Jessica, I had never met Ray, I didn't really know the relationships between Rich and his kids. But seeing that, it just put a big smile on my face and made me realize, yeah, Rich has a great relationship with his kids. Rich has a great relationship with Jessica, because what daughter sings with her dad? And she digs the music too, which is even better.
I don't know how well you'll be able to understand me through crying, but I'm Jessica. I wanted to share a movie line that my dad said during his speech at my engagement party. He laminated it. And he had it tucked into his suit jacket pocket. And it's from Caddyshack. Judge Smales. And he said it to recognize how much he loved my fiance Thomas, but I'm gonna turn it back on him because I think we can all think the same of my dad. And I can't perform it like he did, I'm sorry. He did the accent and the laugh after and everything, and I'm not gonna do that. But this is the speech from Caddyshack. It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the start market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts are too tight in the seat. I just think that spoke to who my dad was, and as everyone shared, he never took himself too seriously. And in college, when I joined a sorority, he wrote me a letter, and it was prompted by my sorority. They wanted your parents to write you letters and spoil you with attention, and they would read it out loud. And the one my dad wrote was really important. God, this sucks. The last line of the letter says, "It is my belief that everyone should take their calling or purpose in life seriously, but never themselves." And my dad lived by that, and he shared that with me, and I just wanted to share it with everyone here. So, that's it.
Okay, so they are preparing a toast for Rich, but that's going to take them some time. And I know that we could probably get a couple more stories out of here. So who is willing to share? Okay, hey, I'll be back there in a sec, okay?
All right. So my name is Sal, and I had the pleasure, along with these usual suspects, of actually working with Rich, but we technically worked for Rich. He was our manager. So for you guys to kind of imagine what that's like, just think of Rich how you remember him, and then just throw a suit on him. That's all it was. I remember like we would be in a so we're in pharmaceutical sales, so part of the things we do is we go to doctors' offices and we have to give them samples, and they always have this small sample closet, and that's where we'd have to wait. So like I'm not the smallest guy, and Rich definitely, and we're sitting there like cramped, and he's my boss, and I'm sitting there trying to impress him with my knowledge and what I'm going to tell the doctor, and the whole time when I'm trying to concentrate, he's spitting out movie lines or complaining about how I'm a Raiders fan too, so how we lost last week or whatever. And, I'm not like, Rich, shut up. Dude, I'm trying to concentrate here. He's like, okay, sorry. Then it'd be like 3, 2, 1. So anyways, it just wouldn't stop. He was the greatest guy. I know he's proud of the fact that he helped turn me to the conservative way. That's something we always talked about. He was around, when I knew him, that's when I first had my first daughter. And we talked a lot about fatherhood. And I know you guys know it, but Ray and Jessica, he was so proud of you guys. Whenever we talked about fatherhood, that he would just light up. Such a great guy, such a huge loss. And yeah, I actually had the pleasure of working for Rich twice. So I was with him at a startup, and then that got killed, and then we ended up reconnecting with this company. And but at that startup, it was my first pharma job. I didn't know what to expect. There was 3 of us in a training class, and so Rich didn't even interview me. He got hired at the same time. So I show up at this hotel in North Carolina, and we come into this conference room, and like, this is your boss, and he stands up, and I'm like, oh shit. But he was the nicest guy. And then, so me and us 3 trainees were like, we bought a bunch of beer to put in our hotel, like a little mini fridge. And like a couple days later, it was a week-long thing. A couple days later in our training, one of the guys got fired, and we didn't know why. Me and the other girl that was there, we had no idea why, and we were totally nervous. So we didn't drink any of the beer. We just started studying, and so Rich comes. He knocks on the door because we were in the same room, and he's like, "Hey, what's going? You guys okay?" And he talked us through it. He couldn't tell us that the guy failed his drug test. But he kind of talked around it and told us enough to make sure that we were comfortable. But we were still nervous, so we were still studying. So he's like, so what are you guys going to do with the beer? So yeah, he took like 3 6-packs. But that's one thing about Rich as a boss. He always shot it to us straight. He probably told us more information than he should have, but he respected us and he helped us grow. And I was always forever changed having him in my life, and to Sue and Jess and Ray and the rest of his family, thank you for sharing him with us. I appreciate it.
Okay, on the way back, I'll tell a quick story because every time somebody says something, it reminds me of something. Very first sales call with Rich, out of training, where we lived with each other for essentially an entire month. It's just so nerve-wracking making that first call because you want to see your training come out. And Rich is so big. And the doctor, we call it the show up and throw up. You show up and you throw up what you just learned. So the doctor, it's a female doctor, she's older, and she's listening, and she just kind of looks at Rich. And she just stares at Rich. And then she looks back at me, and I stop. And then I look at Rich. He says, "What are you looking at me for? Finish up." One of those stories, I'm telling you, maybe you just had to be there.
Not looking over there. I'm Eileen. Ooh, it's gonna be rough. Thanks, Holly. I met Rich about, is it 10 or 11 now, Jess? 10 years ago when our son started dating his daughter. Just give me a second. I'm a wimp. So is Jessica, so we're twins. Jessica came into our lives. She was only, 15, and cute little brace face. And I am a lover of music, every kind of genre, you name it. And I play music all the time. Jessica would be singing right along, and I'm like, who is this kid? Like, why does she know all these old songs? My dad taught me to love music. And I'm like, I love your dad. I don't even know who he is. I love your dad. But the very first time we got a chance to meet him, it was like, hello, I'm Eileen. You're so tall. My God, Thomas, you better walk the line. He's going to beat your ass. Like, for real. We have just been watching our kids grow together, and we're getting into the fun part of our lives where our kids were planning their wedding, and we were all really excited. We still are. But it just will not be the same without your daddy. Last year, when COVID was kind of a big thing, we wanted to plan their engagement party, and we're kind of chickening out just because everybody was afraid of all getting together and somebody getting sick. But we pushed through, and boy, am I glad we did, because we had a heck of a party. And we got to do that together, and I'm so glad for those memories with your dad. He was awesome. Jessica loved her dad. So our hearts are just filled with grief for all of them, because we know. So I just want to thank you for also sharing your daddy with us. I'm so glad we got to spend time and get to know him. Our son really loved him too. So anyways, he will be greatly missed. And Sue, you're in our prayers all the time, just so you know.
You ready for the toast? Did you want to do this? You want me to? I'll wing it. So, Pliny Elder. So, each of us have a cup of Pliny Elder, Rich's favorite beer. So, a toast to you, Rich. You ever-loving Raider fan. You ever-loving beer fan. You ever-loving music fan. You ever-loving movie fan. And your love for your family and your friends, everybody is here to toast you right now. To Rich. So this is a celebration. We will mourn, but we will also celebrate. We do have a taco bar over here. Food is ready. Let's get to it. Really quick, if I could have everybody's attention one more time. So, those of you that are here still and are drinking some of this great brew that we've all been consuming, I'm a little on perv right now, so excuse me. Thomas Silva, who got up and spoke a little bit earlier, was one of Rich's good friends. And Thomas Silva actually did a song on acoustic guitar. And he made a video of it to share with Sue. Sue wanted to share this video with everybody here. So we would love to play this for everybody right now. So if you can make your way close to a screen, you got a screen here and a screen here to check this thing out. I've watched it personally. It was pretty freaking amazing. And I hope you all enjoy it.
Thanks for all you've done. I've missed you for so long. I can't believe you're gone. You still live in me. I feel you in the wind. You guide me constantly. I never knew what it was to be alone now. You were always there for me. You were always there waiting. But now I come home, it's not the same now. Feels empty and alone. I can't believe you're gone. And I know you're a part of me, and it's your song that sets me free. I sing it while I feel I can't hold on. I sing tonight 'cause it comforts me. That remind me of you, the loving memory of the one that was so true. You were as kind as you could be, even though you're gone, you still mean the world to me. Saying no, it feels empty and alone. I can't believe you're gone, and I know you're a part of me, and it's your soul that sets me free. I sing it while I feel I can't hold on. Set you free from sorrow. I'll still love you more tomorrow, and you'll be here with me still. What you did with meaning, and you always had a meaning, and you always will, and you always will, and you always will. And I know you're a part of me, and it's your song that sets me free. I sing it while I feel I can't hold on. I sing tonight